How's it going, everyone? Nick from Comic Culture here. It's time for Nick at Night, my weekly non-spoiler comic book review show. Just got done reading the very little books that I pick up this week. We're going to go over each and every one of them coming up right now. So I'm going to go ahead and put my grading scale up. The way this works is every time I go over a book, I put the cover of that book on the grading scale so you know how they stack up against each other. So let's get into the first book I read this week, which was Star Wars High Republic Adventures, issue number 1. This is a great jumping on point if you're into the whole Star Wars thing, or maybe you missed the last Star Wars High Republic Adventures run that ended just a little while ago. This is from Dark Horse Comics from Danielle Jose Older. Pretty cool cover on here. Looks like we're going to get a new Padawan, and that's exactly what we get inside this book. So we do explore a new character called Sav Mulligan, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably butchering that name a little bit. Very, very excited young Padawan getting into the Jedi Order. Has kind of a tendency to lean towards the mischief kind of side, likes to sneak out and go places that they're not supposed to go. They go into like a bar situation, a very classic Star Wars kind of a theme, right? A young, inexperienced person going into a shady place surrounded by shady people, and they kind of get into a lot of mischief from there, get wrapped up into the wrong people, right? So it's a pretty cool book. I like the tone of it. I like the art style. It is a little kiddish, but it is the adventure series, so that's a little bit to be expected. There's enough action in here, there's enough interesting characters, and there's some callbacks to some characters we already know, so that was a really cool addition as well. Also, you know, what would be a Star Wars book if it wasn't for some cool lightsaber / battling going on? We do get a little bit of that at the end, which really kind of cements my opinion of this character being pretty awesome and pretty formidable, very well trained already, and I'm kind of excited to see where this character goes from there and what kind of adventures and stories that we're going to see with this new Padawan. So I recommend this one. This was actually a really fun read, probably the best first issue of a Star Wars book that I've read in a very long time. Had a blast with this one. Check it out. Next book we read this week was from Boom Studios. It's Damn Them All, issue number 2 from Cy Spurrier, Charlie Adler, and Sophie Dodgson. Interesting book. It's kind of, it still hasn't completely won me over just yet. We're following this detective who's kind of getting into the world of like the mobster scene, and she's actually uncovering the fact that they all have this like magic ability, or kind of like a magic sense around them. They have like, there's like demon worshippers and all this stuff going on. There was a recent death in the mob scene, and some houses are clashing here and there. But the main objective right here is there's these demons that used to be in hell that are now were pulled out of hell for some reason by somebody. And it shouldn't be that easy to do that. And they found one of the demons and how it could be called upon to do whatever deed you want it to do. And it's a very powerful weapon in this kind of a community. So they're trying to figure out, you know, who, why, how kind of a thing. And so it is an interesting story. Charlie Adler's art is what you would expect. Very cool, very reminiscent of those Walking Dead days, but it has its own flair at the same time. Cy Spurrier is a great writer as well, so you should expect some pretty dense material in here. Interesting high concepts, cool characters, eccentric characters. That's exactly what you get in this book as well. It completely hasn't completely sold me just yet. The story is interesting, but it's just missing something right now. I'm not entirely sure what it is. Maybe it's the artistic representations of some of the demons we've seen so far. I don't know. They're cool. They're not cool. I don't know. Something about it's missing something from me. So maybe I'll give it another issue or two to kind of reveal whatever the story is going to reveal, to really kind of hook me in on like a 3rd or 4th issue, and see where we go from there. But yeah, Damn Them All, issue number 2, not bad. It's just not completely hooked me yet, but it's still a pretty interesting book. Maybe worth a trade, perhaps, at the end of this. I don't know. What do you guys think? The next book we read this week from AWA Upshot was Absolution. This is issue number 5, the conclusion to this Absolution run. We have Peter Milligan, and we also have Mike Diodato Jr. on the art on here. So, very cool book. Again, it is the conclusion. Our main character, who's kind of in this game of like a combination between Running Man and Twitch TV. It's essentially a live broadcasted Red Room from a serial killer Running Man perspective. So, you know, she has to go around, take out all these bad people in the most creative, brutal ways possible. And if they do, she gets points through the chat system and things like that. And if she gets low enough, there's these Suicide Squad bombs type stuff that blows off in her head. If she reaches 100%, she gets what's called absolution and presumably freedom, right? And she can kind of go about her life. And so she's, you know, reaching the pinnacle right now. She's in that 70, 80 range. We've been building up this whole time to go towards this main bad guy who kind of tricked her in the last issue, so she's in a bad spot at the beginning of this. And we get to slowly learn how the tables turn throughout the issue and exactly how this ends. And what I was kind of surprised about, there was a natural ending for this book, but they went one step further and took the next like 6 pages to then add something else, another objective after the fact. And it really kind of brought a little humanity to the story, kind of like saved the character in another way besides Absolution. And I thought that was just a really great creative choice. It's a little ambiguous, but maybe not so much towards the very end. It's a little bit straightforward, I think, about what actually happens to our character here. Very cool twist ending, did not see it coming. I almost got to the middle of this book and I'm like, really, they should end it here. What's the rest of this book gonna be? But I was highly surprised about what actually happens towards the end of the book. So, very, very cool book, very well executed. It's very violent, very gory, bloody. Obviously, there's like murders all over the place. That Mike Diodato Jr. art is like haunting and beautiful with all that shading and everything. So very, very cool book. Great trade read. Highly recommend this one. Pick it up. We're bouncing over to Dynamite Studios for the next one. We have Catman and Kitten. This is issue number 1. And I don't remember who wrote this. Jeff Parker's the writer and Joseph Cooper is the artist for here. That awesome cover is what originally hooked me in. Just a cool like throwback, you know, not Alex Ross, but I mean like you get that vibe. It's in that same vein, right? So it is pretty interesting. I flipped through it. It did have a more cartoony art style once you get into the pages. It's not like a real dramatic thing. But the story was actually fairly interesting. We get a little introduction about our main hero, Catman. We understand who Kitten is and the relationship between those two. It kind of starts off pretty innocently. It's almost like a Bruce Wayne at a gala kind of a thing, at a ball or a fundraiser kind of thing, and the bad guys bust in and kind of, you know, start roughing some of the rich folks up, and then boom, here's our Catman that was there all along. The story from then kind of progresses into this big kind of like a mystery, who done it, who stole it kind of a thing, and they find themselves in some kind of ancient ruins where they have to confront this protector of what's remaining of the Aztec culture. And we get to learn a little bit about where they went, what happened to them, and we see the remnants of their culture here and everything. So we do get to explore that, and we get to a few hints about where our main character is going to go power-wise, development-wise. Maybe some stuff is happening that they don't quite perceive just yet about their feline aspect of themselves. So it is pretty fun. The art style is fun. It's an interesting book. There's some little one-liners here and there. The pacing is really neat. It was just like a wholesome, charming, just kind of fun comic. It wasn't too heavy. It did a lot of stuff. It was very quick to kind of like bounce from place to place, and I think that just has to do with just like maybe the maturity level of the writing itself, but it was still fun nonetheless. So a little bit surprised about this one. This one could have went in 100 bad directions, but it actually was very intriguing and interesting, and so I'll be on the lookout for number 2. Maybe I can find one, but let me know if you read this one. What'd you think of it? All right, the next and last book we read this week was Lovesick number 2 from Luana Vecchio. This is from Image Comics. It's one of those like Red Room style books, so if you're a little bit squeamish, I would not recommend reading this book at all, but if you can kind of take Red Room trigger warnings and things like that, this book might be right up your alley. We got that amazing Danny cover as well, so super excited to get that one. Like I said, it is kind of like a Red Room kind of a book right here. We follow our main character Domino. She's kind of like a weird dominatrix serial killer in like a Red Room situation. She's got a lot of fans that love her and hate her. A lot of fans want to sacrifice themselves to her and her group of like women that she controls. And so this book right here is about what happens when that kind of gets too far, too out of hand, when the rivaling clans kind of rise up, the ones that really hate her and really don't like the way that she's doing things, or perhaps they're just like women haters to begin with, what their plans are to kind of rise up and attack her. And she's kind of having this premonition or these dreams about when that day will happen. So we're slowly starting to understand some rivaling institutions that might be coming towards her or coming at her very soon. And so we're going to get a couple clash issues, I would imagine, coming up soon in Lovesick. So if you can handle the Red Room trigger warnings kind of style of writing and artwork, you can handle this one. It's the same kind of story, but with a little bit more of a twist on it. And it's a very interesting book. So check this one out if you got the stomach for it. Well, that's all I have for you. Like I mentioned, it was a very short week. These kind of weeks are kind of nice. The 5th Wednesday of the month gives you a little time to recharge and re-energize yourself. If you liked the video, go please down below and hit that like button. If you haven't subbed yet, please consider doing so. And in case you didn't know, I do content on Instagram as well. Links will be down below in the description. But as always, I appreciate you watching the video. We'll see you down in the comments.